For Yukie for the ball.
Welcome back to the action here at the Women's Series. A couple of players we've seen already today.
Outside.
And certainly pleased to have them both back, because Trina Gulliver,
outside,
as we talked about before, is one of the true icons of this fine sport, and her opponent in this one is apparently a bit of an icon in Japan in soft tip darts. So it's a meeting between Yukie Sakaguchi and Trina Gulliver for 25. The right.
Yukie's won the ball.
To take on Maggie Sutton in round 2. It's been all about Lisa Ashton and Fallon Sherrock for the Women's Series in all of the events really so far. Trina Gulliver is certainly one of the players
83.
That if she can rediscover that form of which she's shown flashes that could threaten to break up their dominance. And Sakaguchi is certainly a player who's caught 90. The eye as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been impressed with Sakaguchi in the one game we've seen on this stream, but Trina Gulliver's throw just looks as good as ever. It just looks great. I'm just really interested to see what Trina can do over the rest of this weekend, because that looks so good.
81.
Loose one into the one segment there. Lorraine Hyde was beaten by Mandy Smith in the first round in the last leg decider. Now, with the way that Lorraine has played over the course of the Women's Series so far, that is a bit of an upset. She's certainly proven 55. She's a danger to the big names. Opportunity now for Mandy Smith to see what she can do. That's over on board 10. So it could, well, it's going to be a big name she'd face, either Corinne Hammond or Lorraine Winstanley.
Corinne Hammond seems to have had, and Lorraine to be fair, they seem to have had some draws today.
Brutal for Corinne Hammond, isn't it? Absolutely horrendous stuff for the Australian.
And someone who was certainly in contention and may still be in contention for trying to seal that Grand Slam spot. She was on, she's now, because Lisa Ashton won the last event, £600 behind her in that race.
And put that in context, £600, that's 59. A runners-up amount. So if you make the final and are beaten, she would then need Lisa Ashton not to win any money for her to make up that gap.
Yeah, and with an open draw,
73 left.
Part of the reason that that gap has opened up to that margin is bad luck for Corinne Hammond.
But then again, at the same time, if you're looking to make up a gap, the open draw can work in your favour, because you could get Lisa Ashton in round 1 tomorrow morning, and if you beat her, then you've got your chance.
Well, Gulliver has her chance to break through in the opening leg. This kind of finish
59
is why she's won so many titles. 10 of them world titles. How many sports people can say that?
Yep. Well, it
was well thrown, just didn't find the target.
Well, that's it. I just think you don't get that success. You don't become an icon of your sport if you don't have sound fundamentals. Oh, look at that. Great dart. Leaves tops. Yukie can't find the double top. And so Trina comes back. And when you've got sound fundamentals, it reduces your chances of poor darts. Give yourself the best possible opportunity to hit things, but even with that, Trina cannot find double top. She's had 4 darts at it now, and Yukie can punish on double 16.
She was really good on that when we saw her earlier in the very first match of the day. It's an excellent correction, and she takes a leg away from Trina Gulliver. Although it is a holder throw, Trina had her chances.
Yeah, it will feel like a bit of a breaker throw, won't it, with Trina having missed 4 clear darts 60. At double top.
It's as recently as 2016 that Trina Gulliver last...
Yukie has done it again here, where she's hit double 19. Now, that has to be dragged low as she switches down the board, right? This isn't some weird soft tip thing where they just go for a double randomly. It's the second time she's done that today, where she's moved down the board, and maybe that's, you know, she's not what you'd say a massively quick player.
45.
But she is a player who, you know, maybe she's moving too quickly. She hasn't set herself properly, and she's just not got the radar sorted.
You know, if you look at the last visit, actually, the margin that she was underneath the treble 20 wouldn't be that far away from hitting the double if it was further down the board. Much better. Above the treble, and can try and work off it.
60.
It's just gonna say we know that Trina Gulliver has won 10 world titles, but people forget it's as recently as 2016, just 5 years ago since she won her last one.
45.
And that is in the middle of Lisa Ashton's 4. During that spell when everybody knew Ashton was the leading lady in world darts. Beat Fallon Sherrick in the final in 2015, but it was a meeting between two of the old hands in 2016. Gulliver once again denying Dieter Hedman that
87.
elusive world title.
Well, look, if you've got any doubts about Trina Gulliver's quality, go and look
60.
at the highest averages ever recorded by a woman at Lakeside. And yes, we've seen 4 world titles for Lisa Ashton, seen a couple for Mikuru Suzuki, and we've seen Mikuru throw the highest average by a woman in a final. However, that 90 average for Mikuru, which
30.
is her highest at the Lakeside, it's only number 5 on the list. The top 3 are all taken by Trina Gulliver. She's averaged 96, 95, and another one in the 90s. It is sustained
41.
brilliance and success over a period of years, and averaging 96, all of those in semi-finals, by the way, back in 2006. A 96 average, world class, male, female, anywhere.
43.
She won the first 7 world championships. It only started in 2001. Imagine how many she might have won had it started a little bit earlier. Might have been more than the 16 that Phil Taylor's got.
You cannot... It's impossible to overstate the role that Trina Gulliver has played in darts over the years. And she's still got something to offer.
Absolutely. We do actually have all of the finalists from the Ladies World Championship
95.
from the last 11 years in the field over the course of the week here.
I think we're only missing Frances Hunsler, aren't we? Is that right?
From before that, she's the first one that we're
20.
missing. This.
Yeah, then you're going back to almost 2000, aren't you?
Yes, at the very start of it, the first 3 years, finalists aren't here, and I'm pretty much certain that they're retired from the game.
Yukie can't take out the 93,
53.
and Trina's making a bit of a meal of this at the end of the leg. Oh, it's right on the wire. She's looking to go over the top of it. And where's she going now? Over the top again? Back the other way.
Gulliver's travels. And she locates the double. That is special from Trina Gulliver. Had to move to the right, the left, and somehow managed to navigate the obstructions and find the bed and level up this match.
Look, that is a very, very difficult shot. It is not just the fact
100.
that you've got to change your angle of attack, change the line, but you're further away from the board. You've got to compensate by just throwing it a little bit harder. And it is a
41.
very, very difficult skill to do. The number of times that you just subconsciously you'll overcompensate, you'll move to the left and your brain will line up and take it further right. You see that in a lot of players who think they'll step to the left or right thinking they can throw it down that line. They'll end up throwing it further the opposite direction.
I spoke to Trina Gulliver
11 score.
after the first set of Women's Series events. She said there were a few nerves. She hadn't been in the darting environment for some time. And she said there were a few nerves, but she seemed to settle in as the day went on. We've seen her go to Bridlington last week and win a pairs event since then. I really think that
80.
maybe Trina Gulliver's best days are behind her, but I really think she'll continue to improve from the standard that she's at round about now.
I just hope she keeps playing. If she keeps playing and see how she goes. The specs
85.
have come off now. We've done a full José de Souza / who else was doing it? Mensah was doing that at the World Cup, playing with his specs on, specs off, specs on.
Margaret Sutton certainly wasn't. Maybe she needed to take them off because she couldn't seem to see with them.
100.
Well, she could see enough to get the job done 4-1 against Rebecca Edwards. She does await the winner of this one. Right now, Yukie has put in a pretty solid leg of darts here. She's gone
85.
ton, 80 with one that bounced out because it hit the flights, then another ton. I mean, we're in proper James Wade territory here. 4 tons and a ton plus checkout. Treble 18 would leave the bull. Okay, so treble 20.
Still in a very strong position. By the way, if you didn't watch that Margaret Sutton match, it wasn't a dig at a performance.
41.
You just couldn't seem to see through the glasses and had to, like, stare some sort of condensation away.
There was a lot of staring in that game.
55.
Well, this is an opportunity for Sakaguchi to really make a name for herself. There's a lot of interest in her in Japan. We've been looking on social media and there's plenty of people tweeting about her performance. Pleased to see her on the stream in the first game of the day.
60.
They'll be absolutely cock-a-hoop that she's playing Trina Gulliver.
Attempt at the 80. I think she was going 2 tops, but I don't know because she is missing high and low with darts. We've already seen her twice go into the double 19 when she was looking at the treble, and she nearly bust her score second dart by accidentally hitting treble 20. So that's one thing she'll have to iron out from her game if she is going to seriously challenge for this title today and the ones tomorrow. But there's certainly something there.
Now, we did see, for the most part, in the last tournament on each of the first couple of days of Women's Series events this year, a bit of a drop-off in standard.
41.
It's difficult to play 3 tournaments back-to-back, apart from the finals on both days when players involved dug really deep, particularly Fallon Sherrock on that final
100.
final, if you like. But there have been some below par performances from some of the bigger names. Anastasia Dobromyslova winning 4-1 with only a 60-ish average. Laura Turner around the same, 4-1 against Sharon Godby. Fallon Sherrock herself has beaten Trish Kidd 4-0, but we know that she's capable of way more than the 81 that she's produced in that one.
Yeah,
50.
well, I think once we get to the business end, maybe a bit of adrenaline will see them get a bit of a boost, but you're bound to suffer a lull at some point, particularly
83.
Fallon, Lisa, players who've been Mikuru, players who've been going deep into every tournament.
Yeah, don't forget Lisa's been here all week, of course, as a member of the professional tour. Played at the Super Series, won a few games as well.
60.
It's a 7-day stay in Barnsley, isn't it? The Grand Slam, the World Series qualifier on Monday.
21.
Well, there's not so fine as a week in Barnsley.
$68.
Well, Mikuru Suzuki's actually
60.
trailing to Julie Thompson right now over on board 7. She's 3-2 down. And there's a chance that we could see one of the big names going out. Corinne Hammond and Lorraine Winstanley. Real battle there. They're in a last leg decider.
Well, here after this, it will be Laura Turner against either Carla
40.
Boys or Rhiannon O'Sullivan.
41.
That's the 41 for Trina. Missed opportunity. She really should have been looking at minimum 60 there to leave her on a 2-darter. As it is, she's just giving Yukie a chance. And again, we see that weight of dart missing high by a long way.
41.
Well, Trina more than capable of producing this kind of checkout. Might need it just to spark something here. She's become embroiled a little bit. Can't find a treble. You can just see Sakaguchi behind her, chatting away to herself. Trying to get focused,
59.
trying to get in the zone, because she knows what a big opportunity this is to make a name for herself.
1 treble required. She can't find it.
49.
Went looking for the 12s, but Trina will get a chance at this 56 for a level game. She struggled on tops a little bit. That's a much better dart at it.
Game shot.
Yeah, and uses it so well. Really, really nicely done. 2-2.
A confirmation that it will be Rhiannon O'Sullivan next on this stream. That'll be a second round tie against Laura Turner. Haven't seen Laura yet on the hockey. Can confirm also that Lorraine Winstanley has won that battle between her and Corinne Hammond. A whole host of
81.
difficult draws for Hammond, and her day ends in a 4-3 defeat to Winstanley.
Yeah, she's impressed me today, Lorraine. I think she's had a good day. She's had some good performances. She's certainly been pitted against some big names, and victory against Corinne Hammond to add to her win against Lisa Ashton, among a bunch of other games she's managed to get the wins in today. I think that's a good return for Lorraine, but she'll have to go even better tomorrow if
85.
she's got designs on reaching the Grand Slam.
Gulliver looking to work her way around that,
60.
like we saw her do on the double earlier on. Unable to do so on this occasion.
Well, second round games are actually underway, and we've got that one between Fallon Sherrick and Joe Locke. That's a potential banana skin for Fallon as she
60.
looks to pick up a second title of the day, bounce back from that defeat to Lisa in the final, if you can call it bouncing back. I mean, she made 7 finals in a row.
Yeah, and still,
100.
as we keep saying, only Lisa Ashton has beaten her, so tough task for Jo Locke, but she has beaten Lisa Ashton, of course, at the Women's Series this year. Very good player.
Mikuru Suzuki has forced a last leg decider with Julie Thompson as she looks to cling on to her spot in Women's Series number 9.
130.
Very nicely done by Yukie, going in search of the ball that would have left 170 if she did the 25, as it is even better than that. Oh, this looks good though, doesn't it?
100.
Oh, just a bit of a flyer, but nice and straight. Gets to a finish.
Utilising the bullseye again. We did talk about her being a soft tip player, and that's a segment
79.
that's used much more in soft tip than in the steel tip game.
Yeah, I know, but Mikuru Suzuki earlier on looked like she'd never seen a bullseye, let alone hit it.
She could utilise it again on a return. Bullseye maybe for double 8.
Well, she's hit it the last 2 times she's gone for it, so I would suggest that that's a sensible
82.
play. I mean, she might go 16 ball, but let's see. Okay, very conventional. Double 18. Wow, that was in the whole of the 8.
$30.
Can't make the adjustment.
Yep.
63 left. Maybe the irony of Gulliver finishing on the bullseye. And that's what she's taking aim for here.
49.
Just whistled past the red bit. And Sakaguchi needs to be a lot closer than she was with the previous 2 attempts.
Well, first dart's been perfect the last couple of visits. Oh my word, that is a mile off. Double 16.
4
Unable
scored.
to do it.
has seemed pretty comfortable on double 16, that area of the board, but other doubles have been troubling for Sakaguchi. No trouble for Trina. She does break. She leads 3-2 and will now throw to book her spot in round 2.
Well, Yukie, some good approach play, but unable to get the job done. And now she must win back-to-back legs if she is going to topple the 10-time world champion
60.
and set up a clash with Margaret Sutton in round 2.
Fallon Sherrick is locked at 2 apiece against Joe Lock. As Dan just suggested,
100.
that could be a difficult task for Sherrick.
Well, particularly this late in the day, as you said, that people are going to suffer lulls. You're not going to play at your absolute best all day
45.
for 3 events. It just won't happen. You're going to have lulls. And Mikuru Suzuki has managed to just get through in a last leg decider against Julie Thompson. So that's one of the big names that has come through a bit of a test. That's in the first round. Fallon's actually
40.
playing in a second round match against Joe Lock, but we know that Joe Lock has the game to take out some of the big names. She's done it to Lisa before in the women's series. Can she do it to Fallon? Well, she's just gone 3-2 down, in fact.
Rose Bulmer, also a very capable competitor. She's up against Lisa Ashton in the first round. It's a second match for Ashton, who played a prelim, but Lisa leads 2-0 and is averaging 100. Maybe we're going to see peak Ashton at the end of this Saturday session.
Yeah, well, she's gone back-to-back 15 darters in that match, Lisa, so encouraging signs.
$60. $60. $41.
Just trying to find a way through to that treble 20 and finding the path blocked. Yukie, if she doesn't win this leg, her day comes to an end. There have been some highlights, but perhaps not as many as she would have liked.
85.
Her first taste of women's series action.
Still an opportunity here for Sakaguchi, but it may be disappearing.
100.
Really needs to get below 100 here, you feel.
Comes down the board.
59.
Well, she stayed straight, so she leaves a finish that is possible. But this is very possible for Trina Gulliver. Match dart, double top.
74.
Over the top. Is there something